Hello students, welcome to Tobin Shadan team. So today's class is about John Donne's famous work, The Canonisation. Okay, so today we'll be discussing The Canonisation by John Donne. He is a metaphysical poet of the 17th century. Okay, Donne was known for his unique style combining intellectuality and emotionally, and this poem is a perfect example of it. I'll say it again. Donne was known for his unique style combining intellectuality and emotionality, and this poem is a perfect example of it. Now let's dive into the poem and explore its meanings and themes. Okay. First of all, let's talk about the structure of the poem. It consists of 7 stanzas, each containing 4 lines known as quatrains, and the rhyme scheme is ABAB. The poem begins with the speaker addressing an unidentified audience. It starts like this: For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me move. The speaker is asking his listeners to stop criticizing his love and let him love freely. He is saying that his love is holy and pure, just like the love of saints, and therefore it should be revered and celebrated. I'll say it again. What we can see in the first stanza is the poem begins by with the speaker addressing an unidentified audience. The speaker is asking his listeners to stop criticizing his love and let him love freely. And he is saying that his love is holy and pure, just like the love of saints, and therefore it should be revered and celebrated. In the second stanza, the speaker compares their love to the famous love stories of history, such as Antony and Cleopatra, and argues that their love is just as valid. In the third stanza, the speaker argues that their love is not based on material or physical things, but is a spiritual connection that transcends the physical world. In the fourth stanza, the speaker compares their love to religious rituals such as prayers and hymns, and argues that their love is just as valid and meaningful as these religious practices. In the fifth stanza, the speaker uses a paradox to argue that their love is both common and rare, meaning that it is something that everyone experiences, but also something that is unique and special to them. In the sixth stanza, the speaker argues that their love is both sensual and spiritual, meaning that it is a physical and emotional experience, but also a spiritual connection. In the seventh stanza, the speaker addresses the criticisms of those who do not understand their love, saying that their love is not immoral or sinful, but is a pure and transcendent experience. In the eighth stanza, the speaker uses vivid and unconventional imagery to describe their love as a marriage bed and a room of state or heaven, the privileged prerogative to hold, suggesting that their love is sacred and transcendent. In the ninth stanza, the speaker concludes by saying that their love has been canonized or made into a sacred thing, and that it will endure even after their physical bodies have passed away. The poem was published in 1633 as part of a collection of Donne's poems called Songs and Sonnets. Donne was a 17th century poet who is known for his metaphysical poetry, which explores complex philosophical and spiritual themes. The structure of the poem is irregular, with 9 stanzas of varying lengths and irregular rhyme scheme. This reflects unconventional nature of the poem's subject matter, which challenges traditional assumptions about love and spirituality. The poem is written in iambic pentameter, which is a common meter in English poetry, and this gives the poem a rhythm and flow that emphasizes its musical qualities. The poem uses a variety of metaphors and paradoxes to compare the speaker's love to religious devotion. For example, in stanza 4, the speaker compares their love to a canonization, which is a process by which someone is made a saint in the Catholic Church. This suggests that their love is a sacred and transcendent experience. The imagery in the poem is vivid and unconventional, using metaphors that compare their love to a marriage bed and a room of state or heaven. The privileged prerogative to hold this imagery also emphasizes the sacred and transcendent nature of their love. The poem challenges traditional assumptions about love and spirituality, suggesting that love can be complex and multifaceted experience that is just as valid and meaningful as religious devotion. This reflects Donne's broader interest in exploring the intersection of philosophy, spirituality, and everyday life. Actually, the Canonization is a complex and thought-provoking poem that uses variety of rhetorical devices and unconventional imagery to explore the themes of love and spirituality. The poem can be seen as a rejection of the conventional ideas of love and courtship that were popular in Donne's time. In the poem, the speaker argues that his love is not based on material or physical things, but a spiritual connection that transcends the physical world. This reflects Donne's broader interest in exploring the relationship between physical and spiritual realms. The poem can also be seen as a reflection of Donne's own life and experiences. Donne himself had a controversial personal life which included secret marriages and religious conversions. In the Canonization, the speaker addresses the criticisms of those who do not understand their love, suggesting that he is speaking from personal experience. The poem can be seen as an example of metaphysical poetry, which is a popular genre in the 17th century that explored complex philosophical and spiritual themes. The use of paradoxes and unconventional imagery in the poem is a typical of metaphysical poetry, which often used intellectual wit and imaginative language to explore profound ideas. Okay, the poem can be interpreted as a celebration of the power of love to transcend traditional boundaries and categories. The speaker argues that his love is both common and rare, sensual and spiritual, and is just as valid and meaningful as religious devotion. This suggests that love is a complex and multifaceted experience that can bring people together across social and cultural and spiritual divides. Finally, the poem can be seen as a meditation on the nature of spiritual experience. The speaker compares his love to religious devotion and argues that their love has been canonized or made into a sacred thing. And this suggests that love and spirituality are not mutually exclusive but can be deeply intertwined in human experience. So that's all about the Canonization poem that is written by John Donne. I've given you some poems to study. Consider this as an audio note class. I'm providing you notes. You listen to this class and copy it down in your rough book or notebook and read it again. And it is then you learn. Okay. So while writing, you are studying it. You are studying the summary. So that's how you have to learn. So this is audio class. If you find this audio notes useful, please subscribe to Tobin Sharan team. So thank you for listening. Bye bye.